Hi there, everybody. Molly McCord here. Thank you for joining me. We're going to walk through the energy of the Sagittarius New Moon. This is happening December 7th, 2018, although it could be December 6th for you, depending on your time zone. This chart is drawn for 2:20 a.m. in New York, so you would want to adjust the time of this new moon according to your location on the planet. So in these videos, we walk through the energy of the new moon. What's going on? What is the conversation between the planets? What are they showing us and telling us? And how can we work with these energies consciously? So with this new moon in Sagittarius, we have the sun and the moon right here at 15 degrees of Sag, 7 minutes. They are conjunct. This happens once a month, as you're probably aware, where they meet up in the exact same place in the sky. The sky is dark, and there is a sense of a new beginning. Every new moon is about intention, and it's about really being clear in what you want to direct your energy towards. So in your natal chart, you would look for where 15 degrees of Sagittarius energy is. And that's where this new moon is really highlighted for you and really strong. And it's also extra strong because Jupiter is now in Sagittarius, its ruling energy, and it is at 6 degrees of Sag, 24 minutes. It's not quite conjunct, but it will be moving forward into the Sagittarian energies even more over the next year. So there's really an initiation here of Sagittarian energies in your chart in a whole new way with this Jupiter prominent. So in your chart, you find 15 degrees of Sagittarius, and this is where you're being asked to really open up to looking at new ways to believe in yourself. Sagittarius energy is uplifting and positive. It is enthusiastic. It wants to go big. It wants to be out there and explore, search, seek. It's about accumulating knowledge, accumulating wisdom, and it's also about being open to learning. Sagittarius is where we expand ourselves. We expand our minds, our spirits, our bodies. What is possible for me in this life? You're meant to look at something from a higher perspective. And that's because Sagittarius is the 9th sign in the zodiac. And as the 9th sign, it's accumulated a lot of wisdom since the last cycle began in in Aries in March. March 20th is when the zodiac begins at 0 degrees of Aries. And since then, you've moved through this whole new cycle of accumulating knowledge, wisdom, understanding, growth, healing, lessons, all kinds of good stuff. It certainly has not been a slow year. But it's a time of really looking at the higher purpose in your life, the higher perspective. What have you learned about yourself in this last cycle that reinforces what you believe about the world, about your place in it, about what you're here to experience? Again, Sagittarius energy wants to go big. And so there's a sense here of really getting clear about how you're ready to expand yourself, how you're ready to step into a bigger sense of yourself and your life. Now, again, this is going to be working with you throughout the next year because Jupiter is going to be moving over Sagittarian energies until late 2019. So we have a year of expansion underway, and this new moon is bringing that energy in more clearly for you. So not only is it a new moon for this lunar cycle, it's a new moon for the next 12 months or so, because you're being asked to really own this area of your chart where that Sagittarian energy is. You're really being asked to look at your belief systems, your opinions, what you think is right and wrong, what the definition of justice is for you. You're asked to look at how you have really embraced trust, what it means to have faith, what it means to keep going and to take a risk even when you can't see what's ahead. This is all of Sagittarian's domain. It's that sense of I'm ready for the next thing and bring it on. Now, because Sagittarius is about the big picture, we're meant to be looking at a bigger horizon. You're meant to look up. You're meant to see something in a higher way. So this also calls in the energy of that bigger perspective around what you have been moving through. What's been the higher purpose of it? What has it taught you? And you've accumulated wisdom along the way. And this new moon is saying to integrate that and really own it. Own it with confidence. Own it with a sense of accomplishment, a sense of yourself. Own it in a way that lets you understand how vast your energy is, and to know that there's even more to learn, but it's important to acknowledge how far you've come, because this is how we develop confidence, and it's how we really honor and recognize ourselves. So this is a part of our belief systems right now, is really looking at what you've learned, how you're different now, and how you're open to the journey ahead, how you're open to continual expansion in your world and in your life. So the Sag energy is quite uplifting and positive. It can be too much. It can go overboard. It is excess. It is eating too much, going too far, spending too much, because there's that sense of I want to go, go, go. And so interestingly, in this new moon, we have a square to the sun and the moon from Mars and Neptune conjunct at 13 degrees of Pisces. And these energies are squaring the sun and the moon. So the Pisces energy is also associated with trust and surrender, but it's a letting go energy. It's not being too locked in. It's not clutching too hard. It's allowing things to move. It's an endings. It's endings. And so in your chart, you have the strong energy of expansion and the strong energy of endings. And these endings aren't new, my friend, because they've been working with you already. This Neptune at 13 degrees of Pisces has now stationed direct and is moving on, and will be at 14 degrees by the end of December. Chiron will be stationing direct the middle of December here, just in in a week or so, and is also covering territory that it's already been working on. So this year you've been healing deeply in these Pisces areas of your chart, and these endings are happening. And Pisces is the ocean, so it's like the ocean is taking away what you've healed and worked through, be it any regret, disappointment, anything that's been really hard or challenging. It depends on how these energies are in your chart. But the Pisces energy is now taking these away. With Mars here, it adds in the push. So see how Mars at 13 degrees, 33 minutes is right behind Neptune, pushing it out, pushing that energy even more away from you. Mars is often the engine. It's the one that gets things going. And so there's a sense of completion here of what you've been moving through this year. And it could be deep, soul level, spiritual, something that you thought you would never let go of or you would never move through, emotional, something that was a turning point. And these three planets in Pisces are ushering it out, and Mars is assisting with that. Mars is like the usher that's saying, okay, let's go, let's clear it out, let's be done, let's move on. Mars will be beginning a new cycle in Aries in January. The rest of December is this clearing out of the Pisces. We're going to have a strong Pisces signature throughout December. And again, the endings that aren't new, but you feel maybe that you're over it, right? You're like, I'm so done working on this. I'm so done. It's been exhausting. I'm tired. Just be gone, right? Let it go. So there's final remnants here through the last few weeks of 2018. Mars is also saying to watch your body, because Mars is the physical body, and to make sure you've moved that energy, the emotional energy, the healing energy, any sadness, any loss through the body Don't let it linger in the body. Mars starts a new cycle in January. We have eclipses coming up in January. This is meant to be a time of endings. And so this new moon is showing you, okay, I'm ending in this part of my life, and yet over here I'm expanding. So we have these two energies that are basically showing up, and it can be confusing. It can be uncertain. But when you look in your chart at where the Sag energy is and where you're expanding, that brings clarity of where to follow this high vibes, happiness developments, and to honor and allow the Pisces to complete and go and be finished. So we have these energies that are both requiring your attention, and it's good to be aware of them, to be conscious of them and mindful of them. Now, the other things we have going on this chart is that Mercury has now stationed, that's what this S means. S means station direct after being retrograde at 27 degrees of Scorpio, 17 minutes. So Mercury is ready to move forward. And going back into Scorpio has allowed him to basically dip back into a deeper understanding of his motivations, of more information, details that he needs that maybe he overlooked. And in Scorpio, there's something more that we were meant to see that perhaps was in a corner, right? It's like the darkness of Scorpio. We can leave something in the corner. You go back into the room, you grab it, you say, oh, right, I need this going forward. So there's an opportunity here to really assess a few more things that you've been healing and working on, and to understand what's needed and what's done, because Scorpio is also about what's completed in you. So ultimately, the last degrees of Scorpio are about where you claim something with a higher level of power, knowledge, and wisdom. So that's what this Mercury is doing. He's saying, okay, I didn't want to forget something. There was a little bit more here I needed to sit with or to figure out, and I went back into Scorpio to grab it. Now I move into the light of Sagittarius and I begin a new adventure. I move into new information, new possibilities, new travel. This is a big travel signature here because of all that desire to go, go, go. You could find yourself planning trips for 2019 or just have that urge to get out in the world somehow. That could be through new knowledge, new understanding. This is the energy of education, higher education, what you want to learn. And it should bring you some joy and happiness. It's something that uplifts you because that's what Sagittarius does. It's that sense of, oh, this really helps me understand who I am and to expand myself. So as Mercury enters Sagittarius again, he will also be ready to expand. And I have dates for you below this video around when Mercury is back in Sagittarius and when it connects again with Jupiter. Now, another important configuration involving Mercury here is how this Mercury at 27 degrees of Scorpio makes a supportive trine to Chiron at 27 degrees of Pisces retrograde. And Chiron, again, is what you've been healing this year. It's the completion energies. It's what's over, what's ended. The parts of you that you're releasing, whether that's in your aura, in your life, in your spiritual growth, in your world. It depends wherever this Pisces energy shows up. So Mercury is supporting this, and it's helping you form a new story. Mercury is the stories that we tell ourselves about your shadow self. Because your shadow self maybe was operating with limited vision and light and perspective. And so now Mercury's gone back into Scorpio to transmute any of those remaining shadow stories, energies into something you, heals you. That's what the Chiron and Pisces is doing. And then these energies also relate to this new energy of the North Node at 28 degrees of Cancer. And what this is doing is energizing the path ahead, helping you understand what you've been healing around trust, around trusting yourself, trusting your feelings, trusting your feminine energies. And this is not simply about being a woman. This is energies we all carry, are the masculine and feminine. And so these are the parts of you that you are now ready to trust more. And that's what this energy of the Mercury and Chiron connecting to the North Node. This is called a grand trine. When it makes this triangle, we don't just call it a triangle. We have to make it fancy. So we say a grand trine. So that fancy grand trine means that these energies are all in a continual flow and they are talking to each other. There is harmony, growth, expansion, wisdom, understanding with the water signs, because a grand trine involves all three of the same elements. So Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, they're all talking here. This is a nurturing, loving energy. This is compassion for yourself. This is a new way of understanding what your heart needs, what your feminine needs. And with Mercury being a personal planet, it's meant to be integrated into your mind. Again, the new stories you tell yourself around what you've been healing and what you didn't see before. You just didn't see it. You didn't understand that side of it, that perspective, but now you understand it and now you can trust yourself more. So that's a really beautiful gift. And that's actually one of the rewards here too of this Mercury retrograde, is how you're moving on with a new understanding of what you needed to heal and how it brought you new wisdom and a new understanding around what you were unconsciously telling yourself. Now, Venus, she is at 2 degrees of Scorpio here. After her retrograde earlier this year, she stationed direct November 16th, and now she's moving back through all of Scorpio, where she's going to travel until the middle of January. So she's covering this territory of Scorpio, and she is here to take charge because Venus has learned a lot during her retrograde, and now she wants to be in charge of her money, be in charge of her power, be in charge of her emotions and her intuition. This is a different Venus. She is different now, and she's going to continue to evolve as she moves through Scorpio. It could still be tough at times, but she knows she's stronger and she's tougher. So this is the feminine energy gathering strength, gathering power within, gathering a new sense of what she's worth. And it isn't what other people told her. That is Scorpio, is where we take on the energies, the messages, and the stories of other people. But after this retrograde that Venus has been through, she's like, no, I will determine what I am worth. I will be the one who sets this bar high. I mean, she feels really strong to me. And not only that, it's because she's receiving this sextile from Saturn, which is her backbone. There's a new backbone here with Venus, and it's increasing as she moves towards the exact sextile with Saturn. So Saturn is at 8 degrees of Capricorn, and Venus will continue to move forward. And when she's at 8 or 9 degrees of Scorpio, she'll connect here powerfully with Saturn, and that will strengthen who she is now, what she values, what has meaning to her, and how she loves herself. Then she will continue on throughout December, and she'll make a sextile to Pluto at 19 degrees of Capricorn, although Pluto will soon be at 20 degrees of Cappy by the end of December. So this is increasing power, because she's going to make these powerful connections to Saturn and Capricorn, and she has a new sense of everything about her. This is a transformed Venus. This is a transformed feminine. This is that sense of really feeling parts of yourself. I feel it as activated. It's like, it's been hard. It's been tough learning some lessons this year, but Venus ends the year powerfully with support from the Capricorn energies here. She also is going to be making supportive trines to Neptune at 13 degrees, and Chiron at 27 degrees. So as she moves forward with her transformation, this Venus energy is going to continue to rise. And that's what Scorpio energy does. Scorpio is at first the scorpion, then it's the phoenix rising. And then after that transformation and transmutation, it is now the eagle with a new sense of vision, understanding, wisdom. What's worth my energy? What's worth my time? So Venus is on a powerful journey here as she moves through December. But I want to call that out in this new moon so that you're really in charge of your money and your finances and what is meant to serve you for the long term. The right investments, that's what Scorpio is about. It's also being mindful of other people's opinions, other people's thoughts, what you take in and what you don't, what you absorb and what you don't touch. That's also what this Venus in Scorpio is working through and what she's made to get stronger in so she can really feel her power in a whole new way. So this new moon has a lot of positive energy because the personal planets are done with their retrogrades. The personal planets are Mercury, Venus, and Mars. They've all been rebirthed this year and realigned. Now we have this joy and optimism and expansion of Sagittarius. Set those intentions, make them big, make them bold, go for it. Really believe that you're worth it, really believe you can create it. We live in a universe with unlimited possibilities and potentials. And if that's part of your belief system, it will help you to really understand what you could create in this next chapter of your life. Because keep in mind that this new moon also sets the stage for Jupiter in Sagittarius's journey through Sag. So it has a lot of gusto to it. Now, what is nice here is that even though we can go overboard with that Sag energy, the Capricorn energy will keep us in line. It'll say, okay, if you want to intend this, if you want to manifest this, that's great. But be willing to work for it. Just be willing to work for it. Put in the time, the dedication, the discipline, because you can go big and great things can support you. But just remember that we live in the real world where time, effort, and energy counts. So don't allow the Pisces energy to discourage you or to defeat you, because yes, you're clearing things out and there's endings and there's stuff that's being pushed away. But again, this is an expansion energy that's meant to help you remember that life is an ongoing adventure, an ongoing journey. What do you want to create now? What has meaning to you now? What rises up your energy now? Because that's what Sagittarius does. It reminds us that there are good things ahead and a new adventure and a new undertaking to explore. So use this new moon to set those powerful intentions and honor where you've come from. Honored what you've healed, honored what you've been letting go of. But this energy will expand and eventually it will take the place of some of this Pisces energy that's ending. So stay conscious of where you go. And if you go over here into anything that discourages you, remember the universe is actually bringing you back to the Sag place of new expansion. So I hope that gives you some insight into this new moon. I'll be back with the upcoming full moon on December 22nd. Until then, I wish you a beautiful day ahead. Thank you so much for subscribing, liking, and commenting. It's been such a joy to connect with so many of you this year. I just started my YouTube channel in March or April of 2018, and I'm delighted to connect with so many astrology fans, and I'm glad that we've connected through YouTube. So just a simple gratitude statement for you, and I look forward to sharing with you my next video soon, friends. Take care.